We're going to get an interception to end the ball game, and now they're 7-5, 5-2 in the Big East, and Charlie Strong will take the coldest Gatorade bath of all.
You don't mind a bit.
Not one bit.
Somebody said coming out, we either the smartest or the dumbest coaching staff. Not putting him back there.
It turned out to be a sheer stroke of genius. Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. A lot to celebrate on Planet Red and on Planet Blue. Still talking about football, if you can believe that, as we start inching toward December. And please say hello to the man who runs everything on Planet Blue, Darrell Bird of the Catspaws.
Thank you. Who's here to talk about Planet Red at this point every week, and how he's going to be surprised. I am pulling for Louisville. I am happy for Louisville. I hope Cincinnati loses. Louisville gets the BCS bid to the Orange Bowl. I need all the evidence I can get to point out how absurd the BCS is, and the Big East in a BCS Bowl is ridiculous. Thanks for the evidence.
And now with a rebuttal about a totally different topic, it's Howie Lindsay of the Louisville Sports Report.
I'd bring on the criticism as long as Louisville's in the Orange Bowl. That's all I got to say. UConn's got to beat Cincinnati for that to happen. So root for UConn on Saturday. For Louisville, just a huge win. Getting a share of that Big East title I thought was awesome. For Kentucky, I can almost understand rushing the field. Something like this only happens once every 27 years or so. But here's the thing. If you think that I'm not going to point and laugh if I see somebody in one of those T-shirts, commemorative T-shirt for finally snapping the streak.
The victory with the big UT team.
I'm going to make fun of them. I'm going to point and laugh.
As well you should.
And look them on Darrell's website.
No way.
Hey, let's jump right to it. It's time for our lightning round. The Lightning Round on Red and Blue is brought to you by Kentucky Corner. You got Christmas shopping to do. You can find locations of Kentucky Corner all over the Commonwealth and on your corner by going to KentuckyCornerOnline.com. You can do your Christmas shopping right there where you're sitting. Well, if you want something to commemorate that incredible Kentucky win over Tennessee, I'm sure you'll find something. Give Joker and the guys credit, especially at halftime. He talked to his guys about making sure that they came out and finally finished the job against the Vols.
At halftime, up 3-0. We talked about how much are you willing to give for a lifetime memory.
It's a big win for the Cats. Go Cats! Go! Go Cats! Go Cats!
I'm one of those guys that say in 2011, man, I beat Tennessee. So from years from now, man, I can still look back and all the memories that, came along and all the 4 years and hard work I put in, to play for this university, man. I'll always remember this.
I've been waiting for this for 26 years. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Was it about what you expected it to be?
No, I can't believe Matt Roark took over at quarterback and led us to victory. Is all our defense.
Ending a curse that's been an albatross around this program for a quarter of a century. Think about that. Quarter of a century. That's a long time. I know where I was in '84. I know what I've been doing since. And to know that the Kentucky Wildcats had not been successful since that date, it's a tremendous credit to our kids.
Where in the world do you start? You knew eventually they were going to win this game and end this streak, but are you kidding me? Matt Roark at quarterback. Defense, give the defense a ton of credit. Everybody's so wrapped up in, wow, how unique and how ridiculous was it to have your wide receiver playing quarterback. Defense won this game. They were absolutely outstanding, had forced turnover after turnover. Seniors on every one of these big plays. Senior Ronnie Sneed right there. Senior Danny Trevathan batted down an earlier pass. Senior Randall Burden ended the game right there with another interception. Those guys were not going to lose. And we opened the clip, Joker saying, what are you willing to give? He lets the seniors every year stand up and say what Kentucky football means to me. And when he heard the speeches from all of them, he looked at all the young guys. He said, all right, young guys, what are you willing to do to send your big brothers off with a memory they will never forget? And there it is right there.
I don't think any of us will forget it. It has been a long time in the making. Well, that same Louisville team that most of us had written off when they had lost 4 of their first 6 games, don't look now, but those guys could be playing in the Orange Bowl in about a month.
But just look at just how far we've come. And like I said, we're not a great team, but each week we've gotten better. Guys have worked hard. And I always say this, if you just work hard, you're a very talented football team. Now go work hard, and then it's going to pay off. But it is a surprise where we are right now. If you look at even the start of this season, I mean, we were at 1 point 2-4, and it didn't look very good at all. But then for our guys to battle back and to keep improving, getting better and better each game.
They absolutely did battle back. They've gotten older, they've gotten more experience, and boy, these young kids are extremely talented. Devontae Parker, you see there, catching a pass from Teddy Bridgewater. That's freshman to freshman. 2 different freshmen starting on that offensive line right there. The other 2 wide receivers on that play were both freshmen as well. I mean, it's amazing what they've done with these kind of young kids, and very few seniors. I mean, Chichester's one of them, Vic Anderson's another, but I mean, there aren't very many at all. To be in a position to win a conference title, first of all, is amazing. To go to a BCS Bowl, it's unbelievable.
It really is. Yep. Good for those guys. Glad they may make that roll. Well, we are not going to be able to tell you about the battle of number 1 versus number 2 next weekend because North Carolina messed it up for everybody by getting beat. But Cal says that unless his team gets tougher, they're going to lose to St. John's.
They were physical again. They pushed us in the back. They were, they wedged us, and we weren't down and ready to go. And we're playing the next 2 games are going to be really hard games. If we don't physically battle before the ball hits the rim, before it hits the rim, you battle. If we don't, it'll be hard for us to win either of the next 2 games. I don't think we can win either because both of them are pretty good rebounding teams.
This seems to be the main point of contention with Calipari. He's got to get this fixed. These guys are so athletic, and they are so used to throughout high school and AAU. If the ball went up, they didn't have to box out. They just flew to the board, flew to the rim, and got the rebound. And they're doing a whole lot of that still. They're not boxing out much at all. And you're going to have to at this level eventually. You're going to have to figure out how to play the game rough and tumble, go in there and get your jaw jacked and your nose broken and get on with it. And they're not willing to do that yet. It's going to take time. You've got to give them a break. And they've never had to play this way. You're going to have to at some point, and it will come slowly. He may have to bring out the boxing gloves like he did last year with that team.
Who's not hot for the University of Louisville is Peyton Siva. Now, I know he's back from injury, but what makes him not hot was the rust he showed in the game against Ohio.
I said, how did Peyton warm up? He said, he looks fine. So I said, go with Peyton.
How would you evaluate how he did?
I think he's very rusty. We could not win the game without him. He's shooting 90% from the line. We could not win the game. He makes all the right defensive plays. Sure, he's missing shots. Sure, he's missing. He makes those layups in a game. He catches the ball. He had a nice bounce pass. He dropped the ball. That's all from rust, and that's to be expected.
Beginning of that game, he was the tin man. He needed oil, please, oil. I mean, his balls were bouncing off his chest. He wasn't catching anything. He was moving very slowly. But yeah, he looked like he had a lot of rust. I think he was 0 for 7 in this game. Ended up with 4 or 5 points or so. But I tell you, it's amazing. You think about it. Louisville probably doesn't win the game without him, even though he's 0 for 7, even though he made some turnovers, that kind of thing. I think later in the game he kind of found himself and really helped Louisville with that comeback.
Yeah, had 4 big assists right there toward the end that really was the difference in a win and a loss. Well, the buzz for Kentucky has to be Matt Rourke. Disney would not make a movie this contrived that a guy who hasn't played quarterback since high school, they pull him off the heat pile, a wide receiver who can't catch, and he stars in the win over Tennessee after 27 years of futility. And Matt Rourke knew as early as last Sunday that he would be the quarterback playing some. He just couldn't tell anyone, including his family.
I wanted to tell everybody, but I couldn't because they told me not to, but I was just really excited. My teammates knew, and that's what I'm with all the time, so we were just excited together. And really, the people that I want to tell, like my family, I knew they got big mouths, and my friends tweet all the time and stuff, so I didn't want to tell them. So
if we lined up the last 26 years, how many quarterbacks have we had? Probably 15. Who would pick out Matt Rourke? It's the guy who broke the streak.
Matt's an athlete. I couldn't be more proud of him. I'm happy with the outcome.
There were so many funny bites from this whole episode. And they did a really good job of keeping it a secret until, right before they ran out there. I guess the word was pretty much out an hour or so before the game that he was going to play some. Wasn't sure if he was going to start. But Joker saying they drew up this plan and thinking this might actually work. And this is like Tuesday, and Joker's looking at the staff, don't you think we need to call Matt over and tell him? Kind of let him know that this is going on? Then that was the funny part. And I accused offensive coordinator Randy Sanders that he has the the little wristband of all the plays. I said, what, do you have 3? He said, no, actually he had 50. We may have used 30. In a normal game, they'll have 150 to 200 options. And what they basically did, they lined up what we nowadays call the Wildcat. It was 1940 single-wing football. That's all it was. Take the snap and go. And they kept doing it. And we're like, surely not the entire game. They're going to do this the entire game, and thanks to the defense, they were able to do just that. Kid runs pretty well.
And that was really the play that turned the game. I thought really he fumbled it. It was ruled in favor of Kentucky. Let me ask you one thing to clarify about Matt Rourke. That something that Joker said. If I understood what he said in the press conference was on Thursday they thought Rourke was, that Max Smith he could have played, but they decided since they had the game plan set to go ahead and go with it. So could Smith have played Saturday?
Thinking possibly he could have played, but if you watched him during warm-ups, he was little soft tosses. And then one point during the game when things got a little iffy, he went over and tried to throw some, and when he threw, he winced, and he was holding his shoulder. I think it may even be a separated shoulder. So it turned out that he was getting better, but there's no way they could have stuck him out there. They were stuck with that.
Well, I tell you, Kentucky fans should look toward what's happened at the University of Louisville to give them hope about what could happen even under Joker Phillips, because you know how bad it was under Steve Cragthorpe. Well, apparently now the rebuilding is officially done. When you think about it, here's a team that was picked to finish near the bottom of the Big East, and here they are standing on top of the standings.
Especially for being big, also being from Louisville, it's just it's really, really big for us, and something that we're going to be able to remember for the rest of our lives. It's going to bode well for the future because we have a lot of young talent on this team. It's really impacted how we win and lose games. So it's just like I can't wait to see these young guys grow up and really mature through the years.
I agree with Dexter Heyman completely. I can't wait either. These kids are going to be really good in 2 years. The word when Charlie Strong got on campus was it's going to be a 3-year rebuild. After last year, that took them to a bowl that nobody really expected. They thought, okay, it's going to be a 2-year rebuild, and then that 3rd year, which would be next year, that's when they're really going to contend for a Big East title. To be a Big East champion this year, regardless of whatever happens this weekend, to be a Big East champion is unbelievable. And boy, these kids are good. I mean, they played 22 underclassmen in their 2-deep roster. 22 of those guys. And those are freshmen and sophomores. Next year, they're going to be even better. The following year, I mean, if they all stick around, Louisville could be a top 5 team.
Well, I want to get your opinion, and we're going to ask these two guys. Who had the bigger win? Was it Kentucky or Louisville? Go to our Facebook page, Red and Blue Review, and type the whole thing out once you go to Facebook. And here's what I want to know, guys. Who did have the bigger win? Was it Kentucky's to snap the streak or Louisville's to complete the rebuilding job and win a share of the Big East? DB, who had the bigger win?
Okay, it's Kentucky easily, and I can answer that question very simple. Well, here's the very simple. Where were you when UK beat Clemson in the 2006 Mississippi Bowl? I don't know. Where were you when they beat East Carolina in the Liberty Bowl? You'll know where you were when they beat Tennessee.
Howie?
Guaranteed.
You want to know which one's bigger? Check the hardware. Our win. Yeah. Louisville side came with a trophy.
We got commemorative T-shirts.
When we come back, we'll tell you when Joker had his oh crap moment. But as we head to the break, while Daryl is ordering T-shirts, he's going to tell us about the latest issue of the Catch Balls, one that's been 27 years in the making.
Yeah, we've been sitting on this forever. The cover is finally, actually it's not even out, won't be out until Monday morning, and Tuesday getting into mailboxes. Finally, the streak is over. That is Randall Burden with a huge interception to wrap things up. Danny Trevathan, the do everything, future NFL senior right there. Give us a call for a subscription, 800-641-3302.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
I'm attorney Jay Winton, the Louisville fighter. When you get hurt in a car wreck, you need someone to fight the insurance company for you. Call me. I'll come out swinging.
The Louisville fighter fights for your medical bills, fights for your lost wages, and he fights to get you paid.
Look, you get hurt in a car wreck, you call the Louisville fighter. He fights for everything that you deserve.
Call the Louisville fighter. He comes out swinging.
Listen, if you've been hurt in a car wreck, let me fight for you. Call me. It's just that easy.
Call the Louisville fighter. Call 1-888-FIGHT-16.
When you need a truck, Bachman Chevrolet is your truck headquarters. I'm Teresa Bachman. Even during our construction, we have more trucks than any other dealer. Silverado, Colorado, Tahoe, or Suburban, Bachman is your #1 Chevrolet truck dealer. Nobody beats Bachman's price or selection on any Chevrolet, including Traverse and Equinox. Chevrolet has what you need, and Bachman Chevrolet has what you want. Bachman makes the difference.
Kentucky Corner is giving UK fans a new cheer this season.
Pink!
Think Power Pink. pink when you dress Big Blue this season. Kentucky Corner is the only place to find hot new colors and styles the Big Blue Nation craves.
Polka dot!
Kentucky Corner is in Louisville, Lexington, Ashland, Florence, E-Town, Clarksville, Paducah, and with Kentucky Corner Online, there's a Kentucky Corner on your corner.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
Did you have an oh crap moment like before the game where you're kind of like this?
No, I didn't. Now, I had that oh crap moment on Monday and Tuesday.
Well, Tennessee's having an old crap moment for the first time in 27 years. Welcome back to Red and Blue Review. We're going to be talking football and basketball right now in our Game Time storylines. Not only is Tennessee humiliated by the fact they got beat by a wide receiver, they got beat by a wide receiver with only 47 plays.
Wasn't a lot of plays, as you can see. Wasn't a lot of plays, but the plan was to play for fourth down, try to get ourselves in fourth and shorts, and possibly go for them.
We had 51 plays on the sheet, but there was 4 of them that I wasn't going to call if at all possible. So really, we had 47. And just by comparison, last week I had 6 pages of game plan. This week I had 1, and there was plenty of empty space on that.
There was one time we were saying, all right, Randy, let's just run a post route. When they get the safety down, he says, guys, this is all he knows. It was about 20 plays on there. This is all he knows. If it's not on here, we can't run it.
It's so comical, just the absurdity, and even ask the players, you do appreciate how ridiculous this sounds, that Matt Roark led you to a victory. And if you go back and look at the play-by-play sheet, you can look that up online. It's hilarious. Roark run, Koshik Williams run, Roark run, Koshik Williams run. They did pass for 15 yards on the very first play of the game, completed 3 more for minus yardage, so they ended up with 15 yards passing on the day, 56 rushes, 6 passing attempts. That's the breakdown. Gotta love it. It's old Delaware wing tee football. Some of the old guys would be eating this up, think they'd woken up in a time capsule or something. It's pretty cool.
College sports is full of athletics directors who passed over Charlie Strong, saying the guy really couldn't be head coach material. College sports this year full of people who'd written off the Louisville football program, including yours truly, after losing to Florida International and Marshall. But give them credit, these guys got it done.
Oh, it's amazing just because of this football team. No one ever gave us a chance. You know, look where we were picked at, and then for us to go and get a piece of this conference title, it's something special.
It is something special, and it's absolutely amazing for this team to do this. Here's what we're seeing is video of these guys walking out onto the floor at the KFC Yum Center after just beating South Florida for a Big East title, and the reception was like the Beatles had come back. I mean, it was awesome. Because, you know, sometimes the sweetest success is unexpected success. And those folks in the Yum Center were going wild for that football team to come out onto the court. It was a very cool moment. Dexter Heyman did the talking for the team. Charlie didn't say a word. Just waved to the crowd and walked back in.
Those 26 consecutive football losses that Kentucky's football program has endured really has belonged to the program, not this group of players. Because you think about it, the freshmen now at the University of Kentucky have never lost to Tennessee.
I looked out there one time and there was 5 freshmen. I was like, oh my goodness, 5 babies. I mean, 5 babies. You know what? They didn't faze them that we've lost 26 years in a row. They didn't know. They don't know. The only thing they know is what they hear from you. You know, so they didn't know. Bud Dupree's that's out there playing a little ball. You know, there's a bunch of young guys out there. So
yeah, lots of young guys, which actually bodes well for the future. There's a lot of question wow, look at all the seniors they lose. What are they going to be like? Bud Dupree was one of those who played really well. Ashley Lowry's had a nice year. Lots of good play by a lot of young people, kind of not quite to the extent that Louisville has done this year, but there's a lot of young guys who've got valuable experience. We're forced into it by the injuries that you incur in the SEC every year. That will pay dividends next year. They're not going to be as bad on defense if people are fearing, oh, how in the world do we replace Trevathan? They said the same thing years ago, how in the world do you replace Woodyard? There's somebody coming up on the ranks.
We typically think about survive and advance in basketball when it comes to Marsh, but Rick Pitino says survive and advance is what they're doing right now in practice.
We're in a survival mode right now is all we're trying to do. We are so banged up. We lack practice so much because it's not even, our practices right now are just so light and so easy. I'm just afraid to get somebody hurt. We're just trying to survive right now and just hold off the enemy until the cavalry comes and gives us some relief.
The cavalry has not arrived yet. I mean, Stephen Van Treese is out, re-injured his knee. They've got other minor injuries. I mean, it's unbelievable how many injuries. I started listing them the other day, and I had about a sentence per injury, and it was 4 paragraphs. I mean, 4 paragraphs since the start of last season of just injuries.
No football players got hurt going into the young last night.
No, and that's what we were worried about. That was I had several people joke that they shouldn't walk on the court because we might lose later. But it's unbelievable. I think right now if they get through, because they've got Vanderbilt and Memphis and Kentucky, of course. If they can survive that little stretch, I think they'll be okay for Big East play.
When we come back, we're going to tell you why attitude is the difference maker. On the way to break, Howie, tell us about CardinalSports.com.
You got it. The best place to go for all your recruiting news, your basketball, your football. We've even got soccer up there, women's basketball, anything you want to know. We're in there asking the players after the game, talking to them about their performances and things. Check it out, CardinalSports.com.
Cal says the difference maker for Kentucky basketball this year is having the right attitude, and he's got several cats that have it.
3 things that has happened for our team. 1, Darius Miller accepting that he has to come off the bench for the time being. That is huge for us. The second thing was Terrence Jones. I said, Terrence, are you averaging as many as a year ago? No. Guys, he was a lottery pick that chose to come back, and he's just playing. He's not worried about scoring points. He's a way better player, way stronger, way more skilled. And then the third one was Michael Gilchrist came into me and said, Coach, if I need to come off the bench for Darius, I will. I got absolutely no problem. That's the kind of team we have right now. Now, the question is, when the lights go on in these big games, do we continue to feel that way? And that's something we're going to have to see.
He's been around enough high-profile players in big-time games. Yeah, let's see if the attitude holds. When things get tougher, they're going to start getting tougher this week, Saturday, North Carolina. That's going to be a tough challenge. You got the big rivalry, Louisville. Everybody's happy when you're 6-0 and you're bowl eligible after 6 games. Hey, can't take that away from them. So let's see how it gets when things start getting a little tougher in conference play.
Louisville freshman Shane Behanning is proving that he is a difference maker on both sides of the court.
That was as good an offensive move that Shane Behanning made in quite some. That was an incredible move. I wasn't sure what he was doing, and I saw him take off, and I was real happy he did that.
When I got the ball, it was just, my eyes lit up. And I saw the paint wide open, like everybody was not looking at me at all. So I saw that a slow defender and one of the biggest defenders on me. So just took the advantage and went around the way. Boom.
Boom's exactly right. I love this play. There was a moment where you're like, what's he doing? Oh, my goodness, that's what he's doing.
Wow.
That's a big-time play right there, and that's Shane Behanning.
All right, next week on the show, in addition to everything else we're going to be talking about, we'll know about Louisville's bowl situation, most likely, and we'll tell you who comes out in the Battle of Blue between Kentucky and North Carolina.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, the Falls Golf Resort, the Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your golf